Final X. Unbelievable. What a great event. Awesome day for wrestling right here in Newark, New Jersey. Unbelievable event, Final X. The world team is almost set for Team USA. Of course, we still have Vito and Jax Force to come up in Fargo. Let's go through the weights. Really great stuff. First, Spencer Lee and Lidadol. I mean, great match. Both guys really good. Spencer Lee, a little bit too much for him, a little bit too much that old man strength, right? Spencer Lee is a great wrestler. He knows how to win. Big thing that struck me was that how disappointed he was after his win for not being as aggressive as he felt he could be. And this is something that I thought is really great about him. And one of the things that makes Spencer Lee one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And I remember whispering to my cousin while he was wrestling in his last Final X match, I said, Spencer Lee right now is at legendary status, even without a world championship in his pocket right now. And it's true. Spencer Lee is an absolute legend. I think that's one of the big things that makes Spencer Lee great, that he truly is looking to dominate. He's been noticing a recurring theme in himself, that he hasn't been pouring it on in the second period. And that's something that's very concerning to him. And the announcers were saying, the interviewers were saying to him, well, you got it done in the first period. You were scoring a lot of points. And he said, yeah, but what did I do in the second period? And, this could be for many reasons. And it shows that Spencer Lee is very human. There could be a number of reasons why, because not just him, a lot of wrestlers take the gas off the second half of the match, especially when they're winning. Number one, it could be fear of losing, fear of making a mistake. That's always present, Also, looking up at the time, looking up at the score, 3 minutes left. I'm up by 6 points. We start to think about the time and we start thinking about the score. And and there could be a number of other reasons too. You could be thinking about, he could be thinking about trying to make the world team. He could be thinking about the crowd and not going crazy or anything. I mean, when Spencer Lee wins a match 7-2, like he did the first match, I believe, it's like, wow, this other guy is really good because Spencer Lee kills everyone. So there's a number of things that could have been going on in his mind, but he said it. He said that he was not happy. He said he was not happy with winning like that. And that's why he is really good, because he's always looking to dominate. So we have to have that mentality like Spencer Lee, and remembering that everyone's human. If it happened to him, it could happen to you. I mean, I think how many times that happened in my career where you have a lead, you start looking over at the clock, start thinking about the score, start thinking about winning the match. It could also be weight. I mean, he said he's down to weight for the first time in a while. So we don't want wrestlers cutting too much weight. At certain stages, we might need to pull a little bit of weight, but still, overall in our career, we shouldn't be spending the majority of our time cutting weight. Could be fatigue, might not be in the best shape that he could be. It could be overtraining. There's a number of reasons why people pump the brakes in the second half of the match. I'm not saying any of those are exactly what's happening with Spencer Lee, but we just need to be aware of that as wrestlers so we could give a full effort the whole time. I get it. It's a match, so you are trying to win the match, but the way you compete is extremely important, and that's what makes Spencer Lee great. He's not just focusing on the fact that he won the match. He's focusing on the fact that he wants to score more. This is the way he wants to wrestle. So if you want to be as good as Spencer Lee, if you want to be a legend, if you want to get to legendary status, you're going to have to think like someone like Spencer Lee. And that's not just, hey, a win's a win. The way you compete is important, even when it's qualifying for a world team. And you could see he wasn't happy. He's still not happy and content with himself in his career. He said, I haven't done anything yet. And he's an Olympic silver medalist. But I'm sure by this point in time, he thought he'd be a multiple-time world champion. I'm sure he thought he would have been an Olympic champion at this time. Remember, when you listen to the videos of Dan Dennis talking about when he was on the team in 2016, that Spencer Lee was right there with him, possibly even some days better than him, and that he could have possibly been an Olympic champ even back in 2016. So Spencer Lee has been very good for a long period of time. The other thing it makes you think about is with the injuries in his career and competing through the injuries. Now, this is a tough topic, a little bit controversial, because, of course, our mentality is we want to win all the time. When I say we, I mean the general population. Most wrestlers are thinking about winning all the time. Coaches, parents, athletes. Spencer Lee wrestled hurt his senior year of high school. Wound up losing his last match to Austin DeSanto, who again is a great wrestler, but he was wrestling hurt. Then in college, several times, wrestling hurt. And I get it. The mentality is I want to be a 4-time state champ. And then in college, I want to be a 4-time national champ and team champ. But Spencer even said a few times that he had to change the way he wrestled, where he wasn't able to shoot. He had to do different things. He had to protect his body. Oh, that was one of the other things he said, why he might be holding back, that maybe he's protecting his body. And I should add this also, that he said that in practice, if you watch him, he's much more aggressive and fun to watch. And he throws people and foot sweeps and does and is extremely aggressive. And he's not doing it in a match. So that tells me it could be due to weight. It could also be due a lot to fear, right? So like it's a common thing with a lot of wrestlers. So he did say he is a lot more exciting in practice. If you could do it in practice and you're not doing it in a match, usually it's something mental. Usually. Okay, so getting back to Spencer Lee, he was about getting competing hurt. You know, and you see this with Yianni too. I guess we'll get into that with his, or we could just address it right now. That when you're competing hurt, and yes, he won, what was it, 5 state championships, Yianni, and four NCAA championships. A lot of these guys competing hurt when they're younger, and now you're going for an Olympic championship, which is the pinnacle of all sports. Ideally, we'd win everything. 4 state titles, 4 national championships, world champ, multiple-time world champ, Olympic champ, right? But when you're hurt and you're still competing, what does that do to the long term? I have to believe that these guys internationally are not looking at the sport the same way we are. Okay, so yes, this applies to Spencer Lee, it applies to Yianni, it applies to America in general. The way these guys internationally are looking at the sport, and someone could correct me if I'm wrong, they're ultimately thinking about winning world and Olympic championships. So they're structuring everything they do, how they compete, how they practice, and the way that and when they're practicing and how they're pulling weight. They're structuring all that to being eventually an Olympic champion. That's the pinnacle in sports. In America, we have a lot of these sub-levels. And not to say sub-levels don't exist in other countries, but we have state championships that are very, very important at that time in our mind. College, NCAAs, which are very, very important in our mind. And it's great. Like, it's so awesome that we had guys like Spencer Lee and Yianni in college. I mean, there's wrestlers who didn't take that track, like Aaron Pico, Henry Cejudo, people who had a lot of success. You can't argue with them either. And you could see why a lot of Americans, why that might be a way for the future to win Olympic gold medals. Not as exciting for the fans because we want to see these guys wrestle in college too. And we know how tough college wrestling is. I mean, you could say the NCAA tournament is the most grueling thing in sports, right? I mean, Olympics one day. College, you got to go through grinders. And we know the American style is different. The hard-nosed, tough style, you got to go through all those guys in a 3-day tournament, extremely hard. But how is that holding us back individually? How does that impact Spencer Lee? Mindset Monday is brought to you by our official sponsors, Eat Clean, bro. Make sure you order today, get them delivered right to your house, check them out, and make sure you put in your discount code MINDSET. And a guy like Yianni, who've now had, Yianni said he had more surgeries than he could count on 2 hands. And I mean, that's crazy, still being pretty young, right? I mean, and I know these guys are saying, Spencer Lee and Yianni are saying they're old, but they're not that old. They're not 30 yet. Even 30 is not that old. And bless my heart, I have to say that now, pushing 41 in a few weeks. But how does that affect these guys when they've battled injuries and wrestled injured, having to change their style, having to do things different, and even mentally in your head, how you're approaching each one of these matches? Yes, they were able to win these college matches and even wrestling at the senior level. They've had success. Yianni's second in the world, Spencer Lee silver in the Olympics. But how would have their career turned out? And I know you can't go backwards, right? But it is important for us to think about it. What if they didn't wrestle hurt? What if Spencer doesn't go for a 4th state title and preserves his body? What if he only wrestles 1 or 2 years in college? Whereas maybe we wouldn't have it in their head as, hey, legendary status like what they did, being able to win even while they were hurt. But how would have that impacted their international success and the long-term goal to be an Olympic champ, which is the pinnacle of our sport? I think it matters. I think it matters a lot. I'm not saying the answer is guys shouldn't wrestle in college, but if the ultimate goal is to be the very best in the world, and I know that's not everyone's goal. Not every single NCAA champ is trying to be the best wrestler in the world, and I'm not saying you have to. But I think a guy like Spencer Lee, a guy like Yianni, yes, I think they were absolutely goal to be a 4-time NCAA champ, but I think both of them are looking beyond that to being Olympic champs. And I think if your goal is to truly be an Olympic champ, you need to do things a little bit different, whether it's not going to college for wrestling in college. I mean, I don't necessarily like that approach as much because I do think it is fun and it's great they get to wrestle, but they're wearing their body down. You're really wearing your body down. You're scrapping all the time. You're making weight constantly. How conducive is that for international wrestling? But I think they do have to take extra special care of their body because that's the end goal. Now I know it's hard. We're going down a rabbit hole thinking about all this, but it's true. We do have to think about it, that the wrestlers, they're getting money in college. There's the fan support. So the resources are being given to these people because they're in college. But I do think they have to really take care of their body if they want to be an Olympic champ, which is very hard. So I'm not saying I have the exact answer for it, but these are some points to consider. Spencer Lee still looking awesome, but you wonder, him and Yianni, what could it have been if these guys did not wrestle hurt so many times or gotten hurt so many times? They've taken a little bit better care of their body. Nonetheless, these guys are awesome. So Spencer Lee, awesome job. Luke Littledoll's his time's going to come. It's at a certain point. But right now, Spencer Lee is going to, just really tough. Love to see him and Ray Oguchi again. This time the World Championship. We'll love to see Spencer Lee get him back. I just saw that Ray is ranked first in the world right now. So let's see it. Let's go, Spencer Lee. You could do it. But again, I think it's going to take that aggressiveness, and I think he knows that. Next weight, of course, Vito and Jax Forrest. They're going to wrestle out in Fargo. Should be a really great match. Jax Forrest, another young up and comer. I mean, could you say up and coming? I mean, he's basically arrived, but here he is, another high school guy. We just saw it. We just saw it with PJ Duke. Obviously, he could do it also. But Vito, world champ. Obviously, Vito wrestling awesome when he's on fire. He's very, very difficult to stop. Very aggressive, extremely quick in his own right. So I mean, it's gonna be another great match. And I know that Vito isn't taking him lightly, obviously, especially after seeing what happened with PJ Duke and Yianni. That's it could happen to anyone. So these young guys, they're really good. Vito has that experience wrestling Marcus Blaze, who just took a third, right? Beating Brock Hardy at the final X, the preliminary matches. He's making the world team. But clearly, Vito had to beat a high school guy last year. He's going to have to beat another high school guy this year to make a world team. So it's a mental struggle, but you got to be ready to go, and he will be ready to go. So excited to watch Jax Forrest and Yianni in Fargo. Nice treat for the wrestling community over there. Next weight, we had was Yianni and PJ Duke. So again, crazy. Yianni beats him really bad right away at first, and then it seems like PJ kind of broke him a little bit, and that's in that second match. There's one point in time where Yianni was down, and it looked like and PJ Duke was starting to come back, and he just started really pouring it on, kept going, kept scoring, and I mean that's exactly the kind of thing that you need to do when you smell blood. You got to be a predator in those situations, and you really need to take advantage of it. And PJ Duke kept pouring it on when Yianni was down. And then I think going into that last match, he had so much momentum with him, and now he believes he could do it. So the mindset, a lot of times, he's wrestling a guy who he looked up to as a kid. That first match, kind of got to get that match out of your system. Not that I'm saying that's what you're trying to do, but you kind of get that match where you get, mauled out of your system right away. Okay, you overcame the fear factor. Yes, now I stepped on the same mat as him. I do belong on the mat with him. And then you get another crack on it, at him in match two. Now the difficult thing there, of course, is that if that's the world championship, so that's the Olympics, he loses to Yianni and Yianni moves on. So that's the thing about single elimination, which makes it very tough. Remember the first year Kyle Snyder won, and when he won his Olympic championship, he lost that first match to Jake Varner, who was the defending Olympic champ from 2012. Now think about that. If that's at the Olympics, Varner goes on to wrestle in the second Olympics. But 2 out of 3, we see this many, many times. The incoming guy has to earn it, right? But it could, you see how it happens that if you lose that first match, World or Olympics, it's a different story. But in this match, PJ Duke had an opportunity to get that out of his system, come back. And after that second match, it was very, very difficult to imagine him losing the next match because, again, guy known for having a great motor, hard-nosed wrestler. Again, Yianni being a little bit older and also body not as healthy as a guy who's young. You don't know how he's going to hold up in a match 3 type situation. Not that he's not capable of doing it, but, hats off to PJ Duke and then getting him. And one thing I thought he did really well, he got his foot, really elevated it nice and high, and then kind of fell into that. Well, I mean, he didn't fall into it. Like he back hooked the arm and put him to his back. But man, he knew what he was doing. He knew how to wrestle him, and he won. And I mean, the whole place went nuts. And that's pretty much how the event ended. And I think back to the last big event. I mean, there was, other events in between, but I think about the last big event that I was at, the NCAA championship, Wyatt Hendrickson beating Gable Steveson. Huge deal right there. The whole place went nuts as it ended. And now for this, another big upset, huge ending like that. So crazy. I feel for Yianni, of course, him being one of our guys. And the second time in Newark where something like this happened to him, where Nick Lee the last time beat him in Final X. Nick Lee again, who's again also awesome, but he was in a situation where he was the favorite and wound up losing that match. So second time in Newark, but again he'll be back. Yianni gave a great post on social media the other day. Said he's got to do some soul searching and that he's ready to he's ready to think about it and bounce back strong, which I'm sure he will. But PJ Duke, this is last, as I shoot this on Monday, this is last day of high school. So, and I was wondering about that myself. Is he done with high school, or does he get to show up in high school one more time or a few more days? And now he's representing Team USA as a high schooler. And I think back, like, man, what would have that been like in high school? I took third in the state my senior year. So not even number 1 in the state, much less number 1 in the country in college, much less number 1 overall. And to think, man, what would have that been like last year, senior in high school, where now, you're seeing your friends. Not that's what it's all about, but it's good to enjoy the fruits of your labor and the hard work. And now you're going in, you're still a high school student. I'm getting ready to go out and compete in the world championship soon. So that's awesome. Another thing I noticed too, there was a post that said this is the first time Yianni was ever pinned. I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know if that's the case, but if that's the first time Yianni has ever been pinned in his wrestling career, I can't even imagine that being the case. Like, really? Freestyle? Okay, I get it. Like, he was undefeated in high school and college, but like never in the off season, never in elementary school or middle school. I feel like that can't be right, but well, I guess news of that will surface. Maybe he'll come out and talk about that at some point. But I don't know. I mean, if that was the first time he's ever been pinned, that's crazy. That's one heck of a wrestling statistic. Who was the other one that I remember? Daniel St. John, who said that he wasn't ever major decisions. Now, this was up until a certain point, like after he was an NCAA champ. I don't think he did the international circuit or the senior level circuit. But I think he said he was never major decisioned in his career, major decision, tech fault, or pinned. Again, I find that extremely hard to believe, including all off-season matches and elementary school. But I mean, if that's the case, never beaten by bonus points, that's crazy. Even if it happened at the tail end of your career, that's just nuts. That's just a wild statistic. The time is now to take your mindset to the next level with Wrestling Mindset. Make sure you go to our website, WrestlingMindset.com, and sign up for your free trial session today. Don't wait any longer. You want the mental edge right now. When you sign up for the free trial session, you're also going to get a copy of our free ebook, Building the Predator Mindset. This book has helped thousands of people build confidence, relax under pressure, get motivated, and build mental toughness in wrestling, school, and life. Make sure you sign up for your free trial session. Because a lot of things happen in the sport of wrestling. Guys are really good, and you'd have to be really good at every single age, which I'm not saying there aren't guys who are really good, that they're not really good at a young age, but stuff happens out there. People get caught. People wrestle bad. But apparently some people, that doesn't happen that much ever. So anyway, that's that. David Carr beating Messenbrink twice. I mean, wrestled really tough. He's very fast, in great shape. He looks really good. He's getting to the leg. And I mean, after that win against Takatani, big deal. big deal. I mean, you see he's in the hunt. I mean, Takatani beat Dake really bad at the Olympics. So when you look at when you look at David Carr and now beating Messenbrink, who clearly had the momentum. I feel like he had the momentum coming from the college season, but David Carr being able to come out on top and beat him, man, he's going to be. I think we're looking at a world medalist here. I mean, of course, could be a champ, but I mean, at a highly competitive weight, a weight that America has had some success with Jordan Burroughs more recently, of course, and Kyle Dake at the Olympics taking bronze. America's been 74 has been a big weight for us. So David Carr coming in representing 74 for Team USA, you'd have to say puts him in the hunt right away. So it's going to be exciting to watch him wrestle on his first world team. I was real excited to see too his dad in his corner. I love the whole father-son thing, and I know those are guys who talk about mindset all the time. They put a lot of, they talk about faith. I love it because spirit, mind, and body. And there's no doubt about it. The Carr family is looking at it in that order. Spirit, mind, and body. When you see people whose priorities are like that, I'm not saying it's just them, but for these guys, they do it. They've been living that for a long time. Just awesome. Great role models for the kids. Levi Haynes, world team, won in dominant fashion pretty much this weekend. And he's a guy who, not winning an NCAA championship, boom, he's a national champ, right? He might not have been NCAA champ, but now national champ overall. And he's going out to Croatia. That's going to be real exciting to see. He's a guy who clearly could do some damage. He's a great wrestler. He's tough. He's got a great mindset. He's young. He could do damage out there. And, you look at it, too. I guess the elephant in the room there is Jordan Burroughs, right? Oh, well, could have Jordan Burroughs made the team? And I heard people talking about this. We were going back and forth about all this. Burroughs has a bunch of kids, and he's running a wrestling academy. So it's really hard. And he's been competitive. He's been on world teams since like 2010, I think it is. Whatever it is, he's been the number one guy headlining every single event. Now he's got a lot of kids. Not saying other wrestlers don't have a lot of kids. Obviously, Dake's got some kids of his own and a lot of these other guys. But, hey, Jordan Burroughs is doing it for a long time. If he needs a year, take a break, give the guy a year. And, he's clearly still one of the best, if not the best in the world. So, of course, we'd love to see him back. We'd love to see whoever takes that weight in the worlds be the absolute best. But at this particular time, Levi Haynes, he's our guy, and he's got a chance to do some real damage out there. So he's going to be exciting to watch. 86 kilos, Valencia and Dake. Honestly, I didn't, it's tough because after watching that last match, after watching their match before U.S. Open, you look at it, it's like Valencia just looked bigger than him, a little bit bigger. And I hate to say a little bit better because it's a tough thing, but I guess like this for that weight, he looked better than him. And now Dake, see, great thing with Dake going on. He's got his documentary, which is awesome. Everyone should support that. We had him on the podcast. We did a great show with him and Greg, his videographer. So everyone should support the documentary they're making. It's going to really be a one of a kind. But right now, this is another challenge for Dake. And again, you got to say hats off to him. Wrestled at 74 kilos less than a year ago. So 2 weight classes down, jumps up 2 weights. Didn't go to 79, right up to 86. Because, well, that's, again, him having a growing family. And, how long you're going to be pulling that kind of weight for? If he said he's going to wrestle another quad, wrestle in the Olympics, why not get at 86 kilos? Why not get used to that weight right now? It makes all the sense in the world. But you got to take your hat off to Kyle Dake because, man, here's a guy who doesn't care. He'll wrestle anyone, any weight, anytime. And to jump up 2 weight classes, most people just don't have the courage to do that. I would like to think that that's all of our attitudes in wrestling, that I'll wrestle anyone. And if you're a good wrestler, you'll wrestle anyone. You'll obviously safety first, right? But you'll go up a few weight classes. How many wrestlers do I hear mentally where they're talking about, this guy is too big for me? We wrestle people that are, let's just put this on the record. Most people are wrestling guys who are 10 to 15 pounds heavier than them in practice. And what are they usually saying when I talk to wrestlers? Oh yeah, I'm feeling strong. How you feeling? I'm feeling strong. I'm always wrestling the guy who's 2 weight classes ahead of me, 10 pounds heavier than me. I'm wrestling good. I'm wrestling strong. I'm opening up. I'm wrestling confident. Then the guy cuts weight, 10, 15 pounds, loses 10, 15 pounds in the season. and he's wrestling someone who's now wrestling at the same weight as him, 10 or 15 pounds less, which would be 20 to 25 pounds less than the guy who's wrestling in practice objectively at scratch weight. Oh, the other guy, and the excuses start coming. The guy felt really big. He was too big for me. What happened? What changed? Your wrestling got 10 pounds heavier than you in practice, and you're saying you're feeling strong, you're feeling good. And now in a match, you're dropping 10 pounds, wrestling someone who's the same weight because there's a weigh-in, and the guy was too big. That's a mindset issue, and that needs to change. Okay? You're wrestling if you're able to do it in practice and you can't do it in a match, there's no excuse for that other than there's something going on mentally. And I'm not pointing fingers. We've all been there at different points in time in our career. What I'm pointing out is that's a major mindset red flag. That's not a physical thing. You're used to wrestling guys heavier than in practice. So what that means is you should be able to bump up in matches 1 or 2 weight classes going against one of the best guys in the state. You should be able to do that. Maybe you don't win. Maybe the guy is a little bit bigger than you. But you should be able to do it. You should be able to bump up 1 or 2 weight classes. Very different story if we're saying, hey, wrestle a guy who's 20 pounds heavier, 15, 20 pounds heavier than you. I get it. That's tough. But a lot of these weights, to go from wrestling like a 132 to 145, yeah, it is a big jump, but it's not that big of a deal. You could do it. You're probably doing it in practice. And what's the fear? The fear that you're going to lose? So what? Aren't you trying to get better? That's the key. Get better. So don't worry about what weight or who you're going up against. That's a great thing with Kyle Dake right there. So going up these weight classes, but, let's not take it away from Zahid Valencia. 3 matches, 3 pretty dominant performances against Kyle Dake. This is his weight. He's defending bronze medalist in the world. So, he said it like, hey, Dake is coming up to his weight, and it's true. And it's crazy because when you watch it, usually you don't see the guy who's bigger be quicker. And I think the difficulty with Dake is he's going up against guys a little bit bigger than him, a little bit quicker than him. That's hard to beat. Usually if you're the lighter guy, you're the quicker one. But Valencia wrestles with those spurts, right? He's on, he's off, in, he's out, right? It's just very hard to, the timing has to be extremely difficult wrestling a guy like Valencia because you see the way he moves. And maybe he's not an aerobic guy as much where he's got a full tank at the end of the match. But man, he's got enough of a tank at the end of the match. And he's like I said, extremely quick, big and strong. He knows how to wrestle. And now over at Oklahoma State with David Taylor being able to wrestle with him, an Olympic champ, that's awesome. That could only be helping him. And even back when he was at Arizona State and Zeke Jones, my former coach, saying he's got the gift. I remember him saying that even back when he was a freshman, sophomore in college, Zeke saying about Valencia, he's got the gift. So it's a very, very tough person to beat who's got that gift. And you can't say Dake doesn't have the gift. He does too. But man, he's going to be a force. And already being a world team medalist, guess what? He's going to be back and he's going to be ready to go. And he's got a really good chance to get a medal out there. So that's going to be real exciting to see. So hats off to Dake. Hats off to Valencia. Beat him 3 matches. Like I said, going into it, I wouldn't have thought that, hey, is he going to really beat him? Is he going to really beat Dake 2 matches in a row? Like Dake's not, you always get the sense that, hey, Dake's probably going to get him at Final X. Like he might have lost before, but now he's going to get him at Final X. Most people don't beat Dake multiple times, but this was one of those rare times where it happened. So you take your hat off to Valencia. He's really good, and this is his weight right now. Going up, Kyle Snyder, wrestled tough, dominant. Again, been our world team member, multiple-time world champ, Olympic champ for multiple, how many years now? When was the last time he lost domestically? I don't know, did he, maybe Cox, I guess? But, hey, he wrestled great, going through a lot of stuff right now. We all got to pray for him. We got to pray for all the guys. We should be praying for each other in the wrestling community. That's a key thing. But Snyder looking to get things back on track. Not looking to go into it much, but we should all be praying for him. We should be praying for everyone and for sincere conversions. Nobody's perfect. That doesn't make excuses for anything. But man, coming back, being able to wrestle, difficult thing to do mentally. He's looks to be back on track. And again, one of our big threats to be a world champ. It's going to be tough because there's some studs in his weight, as there always are. But he's got as good a shot as anyone to come out with a world gold medal. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, will he win it? I definitely see him placing. It's going to be tough for him to win it. But like I said, looks solid this weekend. He's tough to score on. He's tough to beat. From now until Fargo, our partners, Champion Athlete Wrestler Nutrition, the premier weight management program for wrestlers, will be offering a special Fargo nutrition program for only $350. That's $160 saving. Visit their website, champion-athletes.com, or call 800-324-1447 today. Next, heavyweight, Wyatt Hendrickson. Right there, I mean, here's a guy who, right after beating Gable Steveson, right away in your head, hey, this guy could beat anyone in the world. If he was able to beat Gable Steveson, I get it. Gable was out for a little while and then came back, but he had a pretty dominant. He had a real dominant first match. Second match, what was it? 34 points there was in there. So, hey, if that's what that's what happens, right? That's those kind of matches. These guys, you could see at heavyweight, these guys can move. Like Gable Steveson, he can move. Wyatt Hendrickson, he can move. His opponents, they can move too. So, again, awesome. I think he's got a shot to medal. It's going to be tough to win. Translating his style to freestyle, but he's good. He's clearly got the tools. I missed Trent Hidlay in there. Again, wrestling really tough against Josh Barr. Josh was just on our podcast. He wrestled tough. Hidlay, I saw this cool video of him where keep showing a gorilla like he's a bully and just pushing people around. But man, he's tough. He's real solid. It's a long time coming for him. Finally making a world team. That's awesome to see, because man, these guys are, you could say that these guys, a lot of times, it's a long time coming. Some people jump right on the scene, right out of college, and boom, they're on the world team or Olympic team. And not for everyone. And Trent maybe took him a little bit more time. I guess not that much time in the scheme of things. What's he, only 2 years out? But man, he's tough. He is a bull. He wrestled really well. Josh Barr, of course, is a great upcoming future. He's obviously wrestled great this year. I think we're going to be seeing more battles. It'd be great to see those guys go at it again and again, because those are fun matches. Those guys both have really good styles. They're exciting to watch. They both have a great mindset. And you could see you have to have that attitude that I'm here, I'm ready to wrestle, and I'm ready to fight. And I think both of those guys have that. Hidlay and Barr, they both have that attitude. I'm here, I'm ready to wrestle, I'm ready to fight. So really great to see. Oh, Real Woods. I missed Real Woods. I was thinking in the back of my head, I feel like someone's missing. Real Woods making his world team. And, and again, one of the, tough weight for us in America. So Real Woods, the first thing I think back to him was Spencer Lee saying just how good and how strong Real Woods is. He always sang his praises. And then today I just saw some meme posted up saying that Spencer Lee was the first person to believe in him, or to say that he was going to be on a world team. And yeah, he always spoke the world of Real Woods in practice. If you watch I always watch the Iowa interviews, anything that gets interviewed, or any shows they put out of Iowa. Obviously, we got the Black and Gold. I always watch it, but he always said great things about Real Woods. And now he's on the world team, and he wrestled tough, and he's really good. So it's gonna be exciting to see him wrestle internationally. But man, great wrestling in America. I mean, you don't want to say he came out of nowhere, because he didn't come out of nowhere. Obviously, everyone knew who he was, but still a very stacked weight for us over how many years? I mean, Yianni used to be in that weight, of course. Zane coming all the way down, Nick Lee, Bo Bartlett, so many guys at that weight, to the point we got a lot of guys in that weight that are overseas wrestling, right? With Gomez and with Sebastian Rivera, and guys who are doing well overseas. So it's a very tough weight in America, and Real Woods coming out on top. Hats off to him. So it's going to be exciting to see him go for a world championship as well. And I know all of our guys, they're not content. Our Americans are not content to just go over and compete in the world championships, even if it's just their first year. Our guys are looking to win. And that's the attitude you have to have. Every time you step on the mat, you need to be looking to win. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior, or if you looked up to this guy when you were younger, or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. Whether you're the favorite, whether you're the underdog, you're there to win. Not focusing on winning, but there to win. Expecting that really knowing in my head, I'm supposed to be here. I can beat anyone. And this is my time. I'm not waiting for down the line. I'm not waiting for the future. Right now. Now is the time for me to take control. Now is the time for me to win. That's got to be our mindset. So Final X, again, really awesome. We got one more way to go with Vito and Jax Forest. Going to be exciting to see. But man, I love that Final X. More events over here in Newark. I love the drive for me, and it was a great event. People loved it. It was a great venue. We want to see more of that right here. So anytime this could be in Newark or New York City or the Philadelphia area, I love when it's up in the Northeast. Of course, I'm very biased, but no matter where it is, wrestling's wrestling. We love it. Let's keep supporting the sport. Keep supporting Beat the Streets. Obviously, this was their fundraiser. And also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Eat Clean Bro and Champion Nutrition over there. Wrestlers Nutrition. Dan Warnikoff has got great things over there. Champion athlete. Really, the thing about it, mind, body, spirit, we have to have great nutrition. And Dan does a great job working with a ton of wrestlers on their nutrition, their eating plan, their diet. Because like I said, cutting weight, that really hurts a lot of wrestlers. We want to make sure our mind is solid. We want to make sure we're eating well. And then as far as the meals you have, Eat Clean Bro, great stuff. Every day I'm eating at least 1 or 2 Eat Clean Bro meals. It really is that good. So make sure you capitalize on that. Use our discount code for both a Champion Athlete as well as Eat Clean Bro. Great food. You want to eat like a champion. You want to think like a champion. You want to wrestle like a champion. You want to train like a champion. Spirit, mind, and body. Be the total package. It's not just lip service. It's living the code. You have to eat well. You have to have a plan when you eat. You have to have a strong mind. You have to have a plan for your mindset. Every serious wrestler needs to be working with a mindset coach all year round. You see it, even at this highest level. You listen to the interviews with Spencer Lee. You listen to these interviews with all these wrestlers. You see, they need work on their mindset too. Why? Because it's 90% of the sport. Every serious wrestler needs this. Make sure you check out our program. Email us, mindset@wrestlingmindset.com. And every serious wrestler should be doing year-round mindset training. I'd recommend at least once in your life do our 30-day mindset transformation. In your wrestling career, at least once for 1 month, do our 30-day mindset transformation where you get linked up with one of our best mindset coaches. Strongly recommend you do that. Like I said, be the total package. And of course, faith first, God first. And as I said before, and I haven't said this as much on the shows, but it is important that we should be praying for one another, the wrestling world, that we all take care of one another, that we're good people, we're good citizens, we're living our faith, and that we bounce back no matter what happens to us in our life, in our wrestling career, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually, we bounce back. That's what wrestling teaches us. We got to get off our back. So let's make that the point for all of us. Pray for each other, work out, eat well, spirit, mind, and body. Mindset makes the difference.